I knew right when at 20 weeks, pretty early on, that I had placenta previa, so I would need to have a C-section. But things kind of were okay until one night I realized she wasn't moving so much, and right before you had to go to work, we decided like we'll just go make sure everything was okay. And she turned out things weren't really okay. I had an abruption, so I had an emergency C-section.
When Amelia was born, unfortunately, she was very close to death. So we give all babies Apgar scores after they're born. We start right in with kids right after birth. Everybody gets scored, everybody gets assessed. Most babies, and this measures their transition to extrauterine life, they get scores of 7, 8, 9. Unfortunately, Amelia's 2 Apgars were 1 and 3, which really reflect the fact that other than a very slowly beating heart, she had no other signs of life when she was born. So again, very close to there being no Amelia.
She had gone for a long time in utero with no oxygen because of the abruption. She wasn't getting oxygen to her brain. She came out with the C-section. She was limp, and they had the ventilator and they had the intubator. So it was all indicative of a potential for taking a pretty decent hit to the brain and a anoxic brain injury. So I was afraid for, is she gonna make it? Is she gonna survive? And if she survives, is she going to be severely disabled? And then I had to go and tell Renee that this is what's going on now.
They ended up deciding to go ahead and do the cooling therapy. So that meant for the next 72 hours, Amelia had this cool cap on, cooling her brain down. During that time period, we then monitored, and that's when I took over, how the rest of her body was doing. We entered the arena of cooling therapy very early because of funding through the telethon that allowed us to purchase a device called a cool cap. So it actually looks like you're putting like a cap on, and it cooled the brain.
They rolled me back to my room, and John came out in the hallway and said, Amelia is not doing well. They think she has, brain damage. Her labs are really bad. It was just like getting hit with a brick wall. I just remember feeling like the world was ending. I think we really hoped when she was in the NICU that she just would be healthy. I remember it was initially if she makes it, and then kind of the conversation changed to, well, she will make it, but it's just a lot of unknowns.
Cooling's over. We're letting her warm back up. She's looking really good. She's looking really normal. The thing that we do then that gives us some hint what we're looking at is we then get them down to do a head MRI, so a study of her brain. How does her brain look? And her MRI was 100% normal. She was a child who was in and out of here in 12 days, which, number one, she was a month early. So going home in 12 days, that's a gold star. And then being a child who'd gone through everything she had at delivery. I mean, she was on the precipice of death. She was that close. To go home and be going home in 12 days, acting like a normal newborn, was beyond phenomenal. And of course, that always leaves us being very hopeful and wanting the best. The ultimate be-all is, what do they look like down the road? You'd never, ever know that this is a child who was that close. And it's not just she didn't die, there's no evidence of any damage here. And that's the best possible outcome you can expect. It's the best possible outcome you can wish for. Not all parents get that.
She grew and she stood and she walked, and we realized that she really didn't have any deficits, which is amazing for the injury that her brain took. It was really an answer to prayer. When we were in the hospital waiting, I went to the chapel. They have a chapel there close by to the NICU. I went into the altar of the chapel and kneeled and prayed for God to get her through this, and for her to survive, and for her to be everything that He wants her to be, so that she can do all the things that normal kids love to do.
Amelia, she is kind, caring, smart. She's everybody's friend. She's mediator of the four. She's funny. And she's just, you know, in general, a happy-go-lucky 9-year-old.
I almost can't still believe that she's meant to have turned out perfectly fine. So sometimes I'll see her playing and I'll have a flash in my mind to another universe where she's not okay, where she's in a wheelchair, or she didn't make it and we don't have Mia, we only have 3. And I feel like sometimes it's a miracle that we're in this universe where Mia is here and Mia is fine and she's perfect.